was here in the Charminster area of Bournemouth that a Korean student, Yong-ok Shin, known as Oki, was stabbed. This man, Omar Benguit, was convicted of her murder.
I know for a fact that guy's not done that. Omar was with me that night. Aye.
My first reaction is I don't believe him.
So what can you tell me about the witnesses that gave evidence against Omar?
They were saying how they were coerced by the police.
They just wanted me to say nasty things about Omar.
But I found something else that I need to put to Natalie. It's a statement that she signed for Omar's family. It's an alibi for Omar. You all right?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're okay. Natalie, there's something else that I need to talk to you about.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we first came to you was
Yeah.
because we were given statements by Amy, and they were statements that were signed by you in 2005. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Just go.
Is that your
That's
signature?
my signature.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's dated
Yeah.
the 25th of July, 2005.
Yeah.
Natalie signed these statements for Omar's family after he was convicted of the murder. What this
Yeah.
is you giving Omar
Yeah.
an alibi
Yeah.
for the night of the 11th.
Okay.
That's the night of the murder.
Right.
So what is written in this statement is that Omar spent the night with you,
Okay.
essentially
Okay.
in your bed,
Okay.
that he wasn't anywhere near
No.
the murder scene.
Okay.
Okay, so
So why
is
did
that
I...
true?
No. It's not
Okay.
true.
Did you have any kind of a sexual
No,
relationship with Omar?
nothing.
No. So
No.
this statement alludes to the
Yeah.
fact that you did.
Yeah.
So you didn't. So if that wasn't true, why
Yeah.
did you say it was?
Probably because Omar's family said that they would look after me.
When they said that they would look after you, what did they mean by that?
Well, I assumed they'd look after me financially. And when you're in the drug state that you're in, you just think, yay, I've got some money, I can buy my drugs. You don't sort of think of the consequences. You know, if I didn't have any money that day, I think, oh, I'll go and see Omar's brother. And I literally just used to walk into the kebab shop and he'd just hand over 20 or 40 quid for me. Yeah. That's not good, is it, that I've made a false...
It didn't go anywhere, Natalie.
No, okay.
This was never used.
Yeah.
I feel that, honestly, you were quite in a vulnerable place.
Yeah, I was.
I'm not saying that's the right
Yeah.
thing to have done.
Yeah.
But I am saying that there's obviously reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Natalie. See you soon. Bye. Bye. The possibility that the family offered something in exchange for an alibi for Omar is an unexpected twist. It hasn't changed the way I view the case. Has it unsettled me a little? Because if I see that there's a pattern here and there's more than one witness that I feel is motivated for the wrong reason, then I'm going to have to stop and I'm going to have to go to the family and Omar. We come across another suggestion of this in a police statement taken from a woman who testified at Omar's third trial.
Have a look at this. She's saying that one of Omar's brothers came up to her and says, Omar says he's with you on the night and that they'll give her $5,000 if she goes and says that.
I took this offer as serious. He's not joking. And left me in no doubt that they would pay me £5,000. The worst case scenario for me is that the family are trying to buy Omar an alibi. They're trying to use these people to get him out of jail. Apologies for the strange location, but I really wanted to get you away from everyone and everything because I have a couple of questions I want to ask you. And I need to see your response for myself. Don't lie to me. Be completely honest with me. I don't care what it is, as long as it's the truth. Do you understand me? I've just been speaking to a witness, Natalie Stanton. Do you recognise the name? Yeah?
Yeah.
She said that you offered to help her in exchange for evidence to help Omar.
Oh no, she got it completely wrong. When I met her, she was so scared to talk about anything to begin with because she had children. She was afraid they're going to take her kids away. And I did say that I would help with lawyers, etc.
She went to the takeaway that your family owned.
Yep.
And she said that she received 30 or 40 quid here and there, and that they even offered her food, gave her food. So she was getting something.
She was a friend of Omar's. We gave Omar food. We looked after him, and sometimes I think we looked after his girlfriend that we thought was his girlfriend. She was nice. Natalie was a nice person. I used to drop him off all the time at her house, her flat. And I think that's why one of the reasons I went to speak to Natalie first was because of Omar. He said, speak to Natalie. I might have been there. Go and speak to Natalie. That was one of the reasons.
That's not the only one. I mean, I've read that another witness was offered £5,000 by the family.
Oh, that's just crazy. I used to be angry with them. We did as a family, be really angry. But to offer them money, no, we wanted to beat them up. We wanted to seriously beat all of them up. And then even let's say I bought them and I offered money and they gave me, I don't know, a signed statement. Would that stand up in court? No. I have not spent the last 15 years fighting, trying to find some answers to this case by spoiling it, by giving someone money. No, it's just ludicrous. The whole thing is...
You can understand why I have to ask you this question.
Absolutely, absolutely.
If there's one thing I've learned from this investigation so far, it's how easily drug addicts can change their stories when they feel under pressure. Most of the witnesses who testified at Omar's final trial had serious drug problems. So it's vital I find them and interrogate what they have to say carefully. Although I know the sunny side of Bournemouth, I don't know the drug scene. And I'm going to need help to find the people who were part of that scene back then. I'm going to go and pick up Nick from the station. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, no problem.
Nick was on trial with Omar, but cleared of any involvement in Oakie's murder. CCTV suggested he was somewhere else around the time she was killed. Nick was a dealer and an addict back then and knew Bournemouth's drug scene well. He's going to show me where to start looking.
I'll tell you what, the first place I'm going to take you and show you is like, we used to, at the time, was like the main sort of crack house and drug house. And it's also the place where some of the main witnesses would frequent this place, as, you know, throughout the day and night. The flats were quite run down when they were living there. They've been refurbished since.
So is this it here?
Yeah, this is it, the two flats.
The main prosecution witness, BB, claimed Omar and Nick came straight here after Oakie's murder. Addicts using the flats backed up her story. Okay, right. Did you ever see BB in there?
Never.
You and Omar. Have you and Omar ever been in there at the same time?
Right. On one occasion, Omar was in there.
Okay.
And I poked my head into the front room and went, "You right?" and left. That's the longest conversation I've ever had with Omar. Because I never hung out with him, I never had a conversation with him, drove in a car and walked through nothing. I just knew of him.
Nick claims that many of the addicts I'm looking for had turned to crime to feed their addiction, and it made them more willing to say things that they thought the police wanted to hear.
They would get nicked for something, you know, and then a copper will get hold of them and work them. And just like say to them, "Look, I'll give you a break on this, but you got to give me some info." You know, they'll grass you up for something that might get you 10, 15 years so that they can avoid doing 2 weeks.
Look, Nick, I know you believe what you're saying is the truth, but I can't take it at face value. But I need to find these addicts and hear what they've got to say for myself.
And just here, on that corner, That was a junkie's house that people used to go in and use.
Nick's taking me around his old haunts to see if he can spot anyone who might be able to help us.
Looks like it's cleaned up now.
Yeah. If you gonna take me back to that guy with the tattoos. Wait, yo, wait, mate. Where can I get a pic here?
You just go down the grassy knoll.
Down the grassy knoll?
Yeah.
Cheers, brother. See you later. But you see how easy it is? We could have all been old Bill. Look, he's sitting in the back of a big fuck off camera. Look. Great unwashed. Right, that girl's just scored in a hot shoe shuffle all the way. You can always tell they walk real quick when they've got it. But look, see the guy with his shirt off?
Yeah.
You know, he's on the rocks, on the gear, or an alcoholic, one in the three, if not all three.
I'm a journalist and we're looking for people who were in the drug scene back then.
Yeah, junkies. Pull up, pull up. Don't swear at the lady, all right? Don't do that. Don't do that. You're the fucking hell.
In the car, it's not good. Come on.
Bruv, don't be ridiculous. You know what I mean? Is there anyone from that sort of era, that sort of period around? No.
They all seem to fucking disappear.
Yeah.
Locating the witnesses 10 years on will take time. But during the search, I uncover some shocking new information about the main prosecution witness, BB. It relates to time she spent in witness protection during Omar's trials. She had claimed her life was under threat because she was willing to testify against him.
I've just found internal police documents that reveal that BB made an allegation of paedophilia against a neighbour that appears to be totally false. She also made allegations against the witness protection officers. They again are false. And the police are concerned that this might affect her credibility when it goes to trial. And they spend time talking to her. They say considerable time was spent with BB, explaining the implications on the trial if she was shown to have lied. But the big thing about this is that the jury at Omar's trial didn't know any of this. They were never told.
It's a dramatic revelation, and I want to get an experienced murder detective's take on it.
Do you think if they'd heard about these false allegations that BB made, that would have impacted the jury?
Definitely. If the jury found out the lies and the extent of the lies, definitely. I think a jury would dismiss her, to be quite frank. You know, a paedophile allegation, it's one of the worst allegations you could make against anybody. She also then compounds it by making false allegations against the police officers who are dealing with her. I mean, it raises so many questions.
Like, you've worked on a lot of murder cases, Brian. Would you have put her forward as a witness of credibility in one of your cases?
In my experience and in what I know now, I would be very, very concerned. I don't see how she can be believed for anything. I mean, if she told me it was raining, I would want to look outside and check. It's really quite unbelievable. It suggests to me, in my experience and my feeling, is that this conviction's unsafe. I mean, the next step, obviously, is what about the rest of the witnesses? How are you getting on with actually finding them?
Not great, to be honest. Some are dead, some are in prison. This woman talked her way into pensioners' houses and robbed them. She's in prison. She battered a guy along with another man for his prescription medication. But these are the kind of guys that they were relying on as witnesses that have gone on to have quite significant criminal records.
Mm-hmm. It's really important to find these people and to go over, you know, what they're saying. And it's probably a good idea to start considering other suspects.
People who were also in the picture at the time?
Well, I think there's question marks getting raised about Omar and the whole issues that are surrounding how he was convicted. So certainly as a backup, I'd be starting to look at just considering other suspects.
one of the clues here could lie in Oakie's dying words.
And it did take her a while to die. And the thing that she repeated 3 times to separate people was the man that attacked her wore a mask.
She makes it significant. She says it to, the paramedic, the doctor at the hospital, police officer.
The prosecution tried to make the case that Omar has his hood up and that Oakie mistakes his hood for a mask. Do you think that's credible?
No, I mean, she says, I saw the guy was wearing a mask. What comes into my head is a mask. A balaclava comes into my head, or a ski mask. That's what comes to my head. The fact she's repeating it several times, she knows this is important.
We know that Oakie's English was good.
So if he's pulling a hood up, she would at least say he had a hood. There's aspects that just simply don't add up.
Brian is a seasoned murder detective. He believes Oakie's murder may not have been a spontaneous assault, but a carefully planned attack.
Very, very few people are able to go to a scene where the adrenaline must be rushing, to have the presence of mind to think, I better not touch anything, I better not leave anything, I better not do anything, I better cover myself so I can't be seen. Very few people do that.
So who else could have killed Oakie? It's a question Amy has asked herself for years. She has spent hours scouring this crime scene for answers, and she thinks she knows who is responsible.
Hi. It's not the most pleasant place probably for you to come.
No. It brings shivers down my spine. It really does. I have been here quite a few times. I'm actually obsessed with this area. I just need answers. I need to find out who did it. I know my brother didn't do it. I used to just come and park across or walk up the path or just trying to find answers. I would actually speak to Oakie and ask her to give me a sign. Please give me a sign. And
who's this guy?
Danilo Restivo. He's a monster.
And they knew about him at the time of Oakie's killing?
Yes. Someone reported him to the police.
Why?
He was a danger to women. And he was a very strong suspect.
Danilo Restivo was known to have stalked women in his home country, Italy. He moved to Bournemouth just a few months before Oakie was killed. I tracked down the local woman who reported him to the police soon after Oakie's death. Jill is scared of Restivo and doesn't want to show her face. She says Restivo moved in with a friend of hers, a local Italian lady.
She met Restivo on the internet and he'd been in prison. She said that he was being listened into on the phone, that it was all bugged, his phone, so you had to be careful what he said to her. The first time I met him, he absolutely freaked me out. He had a big scar across here, and his voice was very like that, and he had very blurry, starey eyes. And I just left him at the door because I didn't want him in here because he was creepy. And I said to my husband, my goodness, I just had a feeling that something was going to happen here. I did, I really did.
So after Oakie's killed, what happened?
It was soon after, I went in to see her and Restivo, and they were outside talking in the back garden. Well, I said, isn't it awful, Oakie, what's happened to that girl, Oakie being murdered? And then he started talking in Italian to her, and she was interpreting what he was saying, that it was a chef's knife, a kitchen knife, that she was killed with. And I thought, well, how does he know that? How would he know?
What did you do with that information?
Told the police. I told the police.
And were they interested at all in what you knew about Restivo?
I don't know. They just seemed to think, it was definitely, they didn't want to know about Restivo.
Jill is a really interesting witness. I found a copy of the original police notes detailing what she told them. Restivo did seem to know about the type of knife Oki was stabbed with. But it also says here that he told Jill that the knife must have gone right through Oki. And he was right about that. One of the wounds went right through her back and out. But none of that information had been released to the public. So how did Restivo know about that?
Restivo fosse un assassino pericoloso.
This is a particularly brutal killing. The police said the killer would have been covered in blood.
My mum's just been murdered. She's had her breasts cut off.
Had her breasts cut off?
Yes.